Y'all. All right. Let's set up this next segment because we shout out to all the JSU fans and alums that have joined us. We're gonna have a nice, great kumbaya coming
Already
up
coming.
here.
Already. We hadn't even got to the dang segment yet.
Nice,
Already
great
coming.
kumbaya. So just wanted to pull up real quick. You can see our schedule. You can see there is a game this Saturday. Yeah, so we gonna talk about that game, and we also gonna spend some time with somebody that I've done a couple shows with. Everybody knows her. She has her own platform. She loves thee. Ladies and gentlemen, Tamona Stapleton. Welcome to From the Hill podcast.
Welcome. Hey, y'all. Hey. Thank you guys so much for asking me to join your podcast. This is great. I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Well, at least I know I plan on having fun tonight.
Oh, we'll have fun. We'll have fun.
Right.
Yeah, so it's good to be able to go on other platforms and, just have dialogue and some fun banter back and forth. I've had the opportunity to interview Coach Maynor at SWAC Media Day, and so I'm ready to enjoy myself.
Well, that's what's up, and you're also going to be our guest picker for the night, so we're going to do our SWAC game picks at the end. So I know your platform, it's been growing. Like I said, I've been on there once, and you've also been on my platform. And just talk a little bit for everybody. I mean, you're not just a Jackson State alum, you're not just a Jackson State super fan, but just talk about the things that your platform and that you're looking to achieve even further in the months to come.
Great question. So I started calling into shows probably like 2020, 2021. I started calling in people's shows and sharing my football thoughts on different things. And what happened was I ended up being on there for 2 minutes, or I was thrown a football question, and it's like, well, hey, this is something that, you would want to do research on or whatnot, or a couple people just hung up on me, So I decided I want to start my own podcast. I want to be able to control the narrative. I want to be able to talk about what I want to talk about. So I started it as like a hobby, and it just grew and grew and grew, right? And so I've had the chance to go on to SWAC Media Day twice. And I've had a chance to go to the Orange Blossom Classic and a couple of other great games. And basically, I'm like any other HBCU podcaster that loves talking about sports. And I just, I add some facts in there. I add some banter. Of course, we have our chat. I don't have a name for it yet, but we have our chat that's pretty live and engaging. And that's a big part of my platform is for people to be able to banter back and forth and share their thoughts. So I'm now on HBCU Plus. So I'm just enjoying my time being able to talk about something that I'm passionate about and that I love to converse with other people about. So
Cool. Now, y'all don't get too mad at me. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. So, our former women's basketball coach, she is now with Jackson State,
right,
coaching you guys. So, with her leaving Alabama A&M, going to another place, then being the head coach at Jackson State, as a coach at A&M, the team was never able to overcome Jackson State women's basketball. So her being there now, how do you think the women's program is going to go? Do you think it's going to be as successful as it was? And how did recruiting go for you guys?
So we are happy to have Margaret Richards as our head basketball coach for the women's basketball team. Jackson State was so dominant in the SWAC. It was literally, you were always going to be playing for second place once Coach Reed really got her team going and was able to continue to recruit her bigs and stuff like that. So for us to go from dominating the SWAC to now Coach Richards having to actually recruit the whole team basically over. And she started recruiting late. But Jackson State is, we support our own, right? We support our basketball team. We support our coach. And I feel like for us, the expectation is always going to be to win. And I wouldn't actually, I wouldn't take what she did at Alabama A&M and say, hey, you didn't win there, or you didn't win a championship because of who was at the helm at Jackson State. So what she does at Jackson State, she's going to start 0-0, and this is her first season as the head basketball coach. We're excited for to see what she has in store for us. We're excited to see the recruits that she brought in, and we're going to support her just as we did Coach Reed.
Hey, congrats on your podcast and the development and the success that you've had throughout the years. My question is, from your podcast, and I know I've been watching and hearing you ask questions on the weekly coaches show. Tell me, what's the preparation and the differences from you doing your show compared to asking questions at the coaches show?
So as a podcaster, you sometimes you're going to go into rooms where you have to be on a different level, right? So when I'm on my podcast, I'm a little bit more relaxed. It's not as professional. It's fun. There's banter back and forth. But being able to go into these spaces and still, I have a degree from Jackson State, a marketing degree from Jackson State. I attended UNCG. So, and I have a paralegal degree as well. So it's not like I'm not able to, switch it on, as they say, turn it on and turn it up a notch. So for me, I feel like the way that my podcast is set up makes it engaging and fun for fans, because it's one thing to just rattle out a whole bunch of stats, right? But if you're not making it fun and engaging, people aren't going to watch or tune in, right? So for me, going on the coach's call, I feel like there's questions that fans want to be answered. And so I am that segue where I say, hey, do you guys have any questions for the coach's call? And, some of those questions that they put in the chat, you might have to like taper it down a little bit or, make the question professional. But at the end of the day, I'm getting those answers that fans want. And so I think that's something that helps me to bridge between the fans and the coaches.
Nice. Well, first of all, welcome again, Timona.
Thank you.
I want to ask you a question. You're a woman in a male-dominated arena. And so it's kind of like, the old adage that we say with you have to be kind of two steps ahead because people tend to challenge you more because you're a woman. So can you tell us, with the show on HBCU Plus, I enjoy, how do you feel being in your position, and what do you want to tell to those that are coming behind you?
Thank you for that, Jay. So for me, I didn't expect for there to be that much backlash, right? So when I first came on the scene is she doesn't know about football, right? And that's just something that you have to say, okay, so if you're going to go at me this way, then I'm going to come at you this way. So then it was, okay, so since you don't think that I know about football, I'm going to read you the stats. So reading the stats was something that I did for a while. And then you couldn't refute it because the stats, the numbers don't lie, right? And then building my platform, it's evolved over time. I think being a woman in a male-dominated sport, which is football, you're going to get a lot of people who say you don't know anything about football. And that usually is the response that they give when they are feeling challenged or when they feel like oh, she got me, I have to say something, right?
Yeah.
So then they'll ask a question like, what is a QB progression? Or do you even know what a redshirt freshman is? You know, just like Perry Wright over here in the chat. So you just have to come back with them with a little nice nasty, you know, not nasty as in arrogant, not nasty as in I know more than you, but you know, you just let them know like I'm here to stay. I've actually had a lot of challenges with that, and so navigating that, I feel like for the most part, they tell me to turn the other cheek, right? When you hear people saying these things, you need to just ignore it. So I've only had to really address it one time while I've been doing it. And the rest of the time, I just ignore the noise and continue to enjoy the fans who support me.
Nice.
Yeah. Now something I do want to talk about, just opening up, and this is also for everybody.
I didn't answer her question. I'm sorry, Wayne. I didn't answer her question.
Oh no, go ahead.
She asked me a second question. She said, what type of advice do I have for women who are coming after me?
Oh yeah,
and
go
so
for it.
My advice is there are a lot of beautiful women who actually are already in the sports media realm. They already have their platforms. And so my advice to them is never let someone dim your light, right? Or never shrink around others to make them feel comfortable. And to also, build your own platform. There's nothing wrong with going and networking with other people. There's nothing wrong with going on other people's podcasts, but make sure that you're also building your own. So that when the time comes, you'll be able to say, well, this is what I do on my platform, and you'll be able to show people.
Great.
Okay, sorry. There you go.
You good.
That was great.
All right, so now everybody in the comments, and then also this, I just want to just have a nice little quick dialogue here. So you guys at Jackson State, you guys just played 2 non-conference games against conference foes. Okay. I know I've seen a lot of feelings about playing, should you play somebody else, whatever. What are your thoughts about that?
So Jackson State has, and it's interesting that you're bringing this up because the last couple of days, this topic has came up really hard, right? It always circles around. So Jackson State has a unique situation. I'm not going to say, well, it's all HBCUs have, when it comes to athletics, financially, we're at a disadvantage, right? So there's 2 things you can do. You can schedule money games, or you can build your home game to try to bring in revenue, right? So Jackson State's in the unique situation where we barely get any type of funding. Well, I think it's Alcorn, Jackson State, and Valley. We barely get any type of financial support from the state of Mississippi for athletics. So because of that, our main source of revenue for the entire athletic department is football. So we have to be strategic in what types of games that we play. Strategic in the sense that our home games bring in revenue, and there's certain matchups that we don't want to forego, and that other team doesn't want to forego either, because it's equally as important for them to create that revenue too. So one of those, of course, you said was Southern, the Boombox Classic. It's one of the biggest home and home situations, like HBCU games. When we talk about classics, it's different, but we have the term Boombox Classic, but it's a home and home situation. And that particular game, aside from Homecoming and Alcorn, are pretty much, those are our 3 biggest games that bring in revenue that funds the entire athletic department. So those are why that particular game can never fall off our schedule. Just because that's such a big money getter for us. And so I give people the analogy that that particular game probably brings in the clear. If you have, let me do 38,000. So 38,000 fans at $35 a ticket is $1.3 million. That's not including concessions. That's not including tailgating. That's not including parking. And that was like on the low end, right? So when you get in the clear, you're going to clear 900,000. So if you're clearing 900,000 and every other year you're going to Southern, that's $450,000 per game. And that's how much people get paid for money games. So you're going to make $450,000 for those 2 games, right? For Jackson to go to Southern and Southern to come to Jackson. And then on top of that, you're spending less than $25,000 in travel and food. So it's a different makeup, you know. Some people don't like it. They feel like we should go against the Samfords and the McNeese States. If we do that, we would have to take more money games, right? And honestly, we're not into that. There's nothing wrong with like a ULM or a USM or, you know, one of the lower end FBS teams, because those are a lot of times the type of teams that we compete with for student athletes. And those things, you're still going to get paid. Like for the ULM, for instance, we got paid for that, but I don't know if you had a chance to watch that game. It was a very competitive game. Towards the end, of course, that could be due to they have more student athletes than us. But at the end of the day, that was a very competitive game, and it was still a FBS. We still got paid. Our band came, and we went home. So that's the difference between Jackson State and, you know, less money games and more great matchups.
I can feel that. I just wondered what your take was on that. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, and I might be in the minority on this, but I would love to see, if we're going to play 12 game schedules moving forward, I'd love to see the SWAC play a 9-game schedule instead of 8. And then that way you guys can have some of your permanent crossovers like a Southern or a Grambling and things like that. So, you know, just kind of wanted to just touch that. Now, everybody scoring at home, it is now time for our picks. All right. So everybody that's scoring at home, you can make sure that you put your picks and talk about it in the comments. We're gonna go through the SWAC real quick here. All right. So this first game that we got before y'all, I think I know where everybody is going with this. First of all, Virginia Lynchburg. Yeah. This is homecoming in Houston. They are homecoming for somebody at least twice a year. Yeah, I think if Texas Southern doesn't put up at least 600 total yards of offense and beat these boys probably by at least 60, there is a problem. Lynchburg is that bad. So I know everybody here knows this is Texas Southern. Just wanted to just say that one.
Absolutely.
Okay, now Nichols Colonels at 1-3. All right. They had an FBS loss to LSU, and they also played at the time was a top 10 FCS team in Southern Illinois. Coming down on the Bluff to take on Southern off of a bye week. Simona, your pick.
They beat to sleep. Didn't they beat to sleep one of our SWAC teams?
Yeah, they beat Valley 66-0 their last time out.
Beat the dog out of them.
Indeed.
Well, I absolutely expect for this game to be way, way, way closer than that, right? Looking at their previous matchups, they were able to beat Lamar last year. They beat Selah. They beat Texas A&M Commerce. Did they even beat they beat Incarnate Word last year?
Mm-hmm.
So I love the SWAC, but I'm going to have to take Nichols on this one. I do want Southern to definitely be competitive. They're off a great, they're off a bye week, but they're off that great win in Prairie View. So I just want them to come out healthy, right? That's what you want, is for the team to come out healthy and ready for SWAC play. But I'm going to go with Nichols.
All right, T.
Nichols by a 3 touchdown. Like she said, they're not. It's not gonna. I don't think they're gonna beat them like they beat Valley. I say it's a 3 touchdown win though.
All right, Jen.
I'm going to direct this to Perry White. Since Perry White is in the comments with so much criticism for A&M, I just wanted you to direct some of that energy to Coach Graves to make sure they have some type of game plan for Nichols. But since you won't, I'm going to go with Nichols by a lot.
Corey.
Southern would be well rested, on feeling good from beating Prairie View. The fans are, back to so-called normal. But I think Nichols will put them right back in their place. And at the end of the day, they still are struggling on offense. And that doesn't just change over 2 weeks. So Nichols.
Yeah, Nichols also didn't play last week. Nichols by at least 4 touchdowns. This ain't saying it. It's not trying. Yeah, Nichols by at least 4 scores. Nichols is not as bad as that record says.
And that's why I just be like, why are you playing that type of game? If you're gonna play that game, you might as well go play a game where either you're gonna get some money
or win.
Might as well play Troy for that case.
Or play Tennessee State.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to play out of conference games, play a Tennessee State, play a Hampton, play a North Carolina A&T, because if you're going to, you don't get any brownie points for playing Nichols and getting beat to sleep.
Yeah. And Southern, they'll play this game and then they'll get right back into SWAC play where they're 1-0 in SWAC play. And that's really what matters to them.
Right.
Be healthy, Southern. All right, Prairie View, fresh off of an emotional 5 overtime win, going down to Incarnate Word. Now, last time these teams played, it was 2 years ago in Prairie View. Incarnate Word 31-14. This game is in San Antonio. Timona, what you got?
Lord have mercy. Okay, so I'm gonna just keep stressing it, Lord. I'm gonna keep stressing it. You know what? It's a different dynamic if your team is well built, I guess. But these games are picked years in advance. I want to say Incarnate's Word's football coach is at Texas State, right?
Yes, he is. GJ
It
Kinney.
Doesn't look like Incarnate Word fell off any, though. That's the thing. Like, they just kind of zoomed right. Not in a sense that you could beat them, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and once again say Prairie View, stay healthy, right? Stay healthy. It's interesting. It'll actually be interesting to see, because you have Southern and Prairie View playing. You have Southern playing Nichols, and then Prairie View playing Incarnate Word, and then Incarnate Word and Nichols play the week after. So it'll be interesting to see how they do matching up against each other versus how they do against the SWAC teams. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Incarnate Word.
All right, T.
I'm going with the Catholic school out of San Antonio. Incarnate Word. The big IWs.
Jen.
The Bible school. Let's go with that.
Brother McCarthy, they beat Valley by like 66 points.
Right.
Prairie View is on their 9 lives, and Grambling for some reason could have put them out their misery and just couldn't do it. But it's gonna come 1 week or another. But this week Incarnate Word.
Yeah, Prairie View, after they lose this game, they go to play Pine Bluff. Well, they go home to play Pine Bluff on a Friday. Just think about the next Friday game, because this game ain't going to go well. I got Incarnate by at least 30. All right, now, speaking of Pine Bluff, it's homecoming on the reservation. Timon, what you got?
Ooh. So I'm going to go a little bit different than what everybody thinks. I'm going with UAPB. Their quarterback is leading in passing yards. I've watched a couple of Alcorn games. It's kind of lackluster for them to be picked as preseason to pull it out in the West. So I'm going to go with you said it's homecoming?
Yeah, it's homecoming.
I'm going with the homecoming upset. And I'm going with UAPB with this one. I think that they have progressed from last year. It's just that their beginning schedule was so top heavy with FBS teams and so I really feel like that UAPB is going to pull it out.
All right. T?
I'm going to go with the Big Bad Braves. I just don't see them losing homecoming. I think UAPB, they do have a good quarterback, but I just don't see Alcorn losing at home to them Saturday.
All right. Jay?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a good game, a good close game, but I think Alcorn is going to pull it out at the end, just strictly off home field advantage.
Corey?
Hey. I'm gonna ride with Timona on this one because I've been UAPB then played a tough schedule and they got an awesome quarterback back there. And what I see
Higgins
and what I seen from Alcorn, it's not a disciplined team. It's like penalties, turnovers, or just unorganized. And so I just think UAPB is finna to spoil Alcorn's homecoming.
Yeah, Alcorn did lose homecoming a couple years ago. It was a huge upset. I think it was Texas Southern that year.
And then it was Texas Southern that spoiled their time.
And then spoiled them last year
to go to the SWAC championship. So Alcorn definitely had some upsets on their schedule.
So I'm gonna say this: Alcorn, they had to run the ball to beat Valley. And they ran for a good amount of yards, but it was Valley. They can't throw the ball, man. But fortunately for them, one thing that Arkansas Pine Bluff does struggle with is rush offense. I'm taking the Braves in a closer than people think because they're going to run the ball.
Definitely closer than people think.
Yep. But shout out to Higgins. He's a bright star for Pine Bluff. Hopefully y'all can keep him. Homecoming in Montgomery. Now, this game right here.
You ain't have to say all that, Wayne.
This game right here. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Timona, you get the first crack at this one.
So for me, this is the game of the week. There's so many implications in this particular matchup right here, right? Florida A&M, they've been at the number one spot in a lot of polls for a lot of weeks, and they're hanging their head on last year, and they're also utilizing the games that they won against Norfolk and South Carolina State, right? Norfolk was, I want to say, second to last to win in the MEAC. South Carolina State is coming off of a brand new coach that's rebuilding his team. And offensive, I think that Florida A&M this year is an offensively led team, not as defensive savvy as they were last year. Whereas Alabama State is actually number one overall in defense. They have an average of 16.8 points allowed per game. They've had a matchup with Samford where that game ended 12-7.
Mm-hmm.
The issue, of course, with that and the big question mark is the offense, right? Mm-hmm. Because they lost both of their quarterbacks. But I will say this, there's a couple of advantages that Bama State has. Number one, it's their homecoming. And number two, I feel like if they get some defensive touchdowns, they'll be able to place a cushion on their offense. So if their offense can score at least 10 to 14 points and they can virtually stop FAMU, which is what they've been doing on all the other teams, this is going to be a close matchup, but I've got Alabama State for the win. And this would be a huge win for Coach Eddie Robinson after losing his both of his quarterbacks, right? QB 1 and 2, Andrew Body and O'Brien. Mm-hmm. And yes, he does have a freshman quarterback. I feel like they got this in the bag, though. So I am going to go with Alabama State.
T.
Yeah, man. I know Alabama State's playing at home. I know they have a good defense, but I just think that since they do have a third string quarterback, they will not be able to go toe to toe with FAMU. So I'm picking FAMU over Alabama State for this game.
Jen.
I think I agree that was Paris. Paris said that she hoped they both lose. I'm with you. I hope they both lose. But since that won't happen, I don't know if any of y'all have just ever been in a game at Alabama State or even just at homecoming. It's a very hostile environment there. And I really think that's going to just hype. I think Alabama State's defense is going to make the difference in this game. So I'm going to go with Alabama State.
He said, too bad it can't be a double forfeit. Corey. Go ahead, Corey.
Hey, they playing in the Gump. And, everybody who's been down there, Jackson State, everybody know it's a difficult place to play in because they got a hostile student section and the fans. But I think this comes down to, Eddie Robinson. He's an old school, like Baltimore Ravens type player. When Ray Lewis, he's going to run the ball. He's going to punt. He's going to let his defense control the game and try to take advantage of any kind of interceptions, fumbles, and just try to get in position, take whatever points you give them. But at the end of the day, I think if Alabama State wasn't in the quarterback situation that they were in, I think they would win this game. But I just don't see a third string quarterback or a fourth string quarterback because Florida A&M got good special teams. And so they're going to be able to make field goals. They'll hit 5-6 field goals. And you asking Alabama State to score touchdowns. And I just don't see them scoring enough touchdowns to win this game. So Florida A&M will win by 14 points, 28-14.
Well, for me, this game is really crazy because the two times that they have played, the last two times they played. Now, the first time they played at SWAC and foes, Florida A&M 27-3 down in Tallahassee. But 2 years ago in Montgomery, it was 17-14. They blocked a field goal in the final seconds to beat Bama State there in Montgomery. Last year, even though it was 23-10, that was as physical of a football game as the SWAC saw all last year. Alabama State, they were tough against those guys. Now, Alabama State stars are going to have to show up on defense. I'm talking about Kinsey.
Traquan Thomas.
Talking about Traquan Thomas, talking about Scarborough and Burgess. These four guys are going to have to be big on defense because Alabama State, they only throw the ball for 90 yards a game. That's not going to cut it. Now, last week, they ran for 311 against Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman knew that all they were going to do is run the ball and still couldn't stop it. Now, we know everybody saw the Norfolk game. For 3 quarters, Norfolk ran the ball all over. And for 2 quarters against South Carolina State, they ran the ball all over. Before they made some key adjustments. So, I believe that Alabama State doesn't have enough offense. I think they're going to have to keep their defense on the field too long, and I think FAMU wears them down in the fourth quarter and gets out of there with a close one. All right. Last but not least, our game.
Yay.
All right. So,
all right.
Go ahead on and talk about it.
The friendly comes off. I got my net. We're getting ready to take y'all to the dog pound. All right. So, Alabama A&M versus the Jackson State Tigers. Now, this I'm excited about this particular matchup. I had a chance, like I said before earlier, I had a chance to kind of get some questions out of Coach Maynor. I wanted to know, who's your quarterback? What type of offense are you going to run? I tried to pry him for some information. And, he didn't really give me anything. He just barked at me a little bit, and gave the coach speak type of answer. But I feel like this is going to be the perfect matchup between two teams. And that is because Alabama A&M is known for being an offensively led team. And we haven't been able to really see Alabama A&M in SWAC play because that FAMU game didn't happen. See, if we had that FAMU game, we would really know where Alabama A&M is when it comes to how good their offense is gelling or how good their defense is. So you guys had such extremes in your games. So you had the Kentucky State game, but then you had Auburn. So it was two games that are on like both ends of the spectrum with how good a team can be. I know you guys lost Duke Miller. He just made that announcement, I want to say today, which was one of your leading wide receivers for Alabama A&M. Statistically speaking, Alabama A&M is in the middle of the pack offensively. You guys rank 5th. And then defensively, you rank 9th. So for Jackson State, this is all about not making mistakes, right? We've gotten the signal calling as far as Coach T.C. Taylor. He's saying Jacobian Morgan is the starting quarterback. And our offense gelled well against Texas Southern. So with that being said, of course, you know who I'm picking, right? You know I'm going with Jackson State. I'm going with Jackson State.
I mean, of course.
No, but I am expecting Jackson State to be dominant in this game. And the reason why I'm expecting Jackson State to be dominant is because your defense is number 2 and your offense is number 1. So less penalties, no turnovers, no fumbles, and it'll be Jackson State by a lot. Ty said she wants a good dog fight, but we're Tigers over here.
Go ahead, T.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't have to tell you who I'm picking. Y'all know that. I'll pick us against the Seattle Seahawks. But I just hope we nail down and solidify the quarterback position. We got to get that taken care of to be competitive in league play. If we're going to do this musical chairs thing on Saturday, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long season. So we got to get that taken care of. But if we stay with starting quarterback, I like it. So if we play our game plan, I hate to hear that about Duke, but I think we have a quarterback, a starting quarterback with Mr. Brown that knows how to make decisions and can make the right play calls and play read. So I'm hoping, like she said, we had extremes. We got beat by Auburn by 70 points. And then we come back and beat Kentucky State by a whole lot. And then we kind of struggle with the other team, and then we make all the mistakes against Austin P. So we kind of hadn't put a game together yet. Like we made all types of mistakes at Austin P and put them in great situations. So I just hope we get it all together, stay with the quarterback, and win this football game by 10, 12 points.
Jake.
T pretty much said what I wanted to say as far as our key to victory is solidifying that quarterback position. I think I see Ty saying if we switch back quarterbacks back to back, she's turning off the TV. You're turning off the TV. I'm gonna be back on I-65 by halftime. And I don't leave games early. So again, our keys to victory is the quarterback. We have a great, not to saying, whatever coach decides to do, that's him. But solid QB play will be the difference. And so with that being said, I am pulling for my family's team. It ain't just me that's a Bulldog. It's a whole bunch of us. Let's go. A&M.
Corey.
I think this is going to be a very competitive game. So I don't expect Jackson State to be dominant in this game. I think Alabama A&M, we haven't put together a full game this season. And I know you mentioned quarterbacks, but I look at more as special teams. I think for us to be able to pull off the upset to win this game, I think we'll have to have a solid game in special teams because at the Austin P game, Austin P had 24 points, but 27 total yards early in that game. So that's a recipe for disaster. Ask Jackson State against Grambling. Is that a recipe for disaster? It is. So I think if we put together a solid game of special teams, I really think we haven't put a complete game together, but I expect for us to win. I think we'll win by 7 points, and we'll put the SWAC on notice this week.
All right, so I get the final say here. So I'm not very confident that we're going to win this game at all. I know some people are going to be like, well, how the hell are you hosting the podcast? Listen, I got to be for real.
That would be me. How the hell you host the podcast? And you talking about we ain't going to win.
Hey, I got to be for real here. Listen, this is what I'm going to say. The team that showed up in Houston last week, that was that team that showed up in Houston. I know a lot of people said that Texas Southern had a chance and all this different, and they totally wiped those boys off the field. And you saw what happened when they stopped musical chairs at quarterback. They put Morgan in. Morgan ran it for over 100 and threw for almost 200. If that version shows up in Mobile, I'm not sure that we have enough defense to be able to stop that. Also, the last time we were on the field, we looked as bad as we could possibly be. I'm hoping that without playing a game last week, I'm hoping that we have had the chance to regroup, put together a great game plan, and really just come down there. Really, for me, I said this before, I'll say it again. I just hope that we put our best 22 people on the field and show up and just get in the fight. I don't want no musical chairs. I don't want none of that. I don't want no regrets. If we put our best 22 on the field and we lose, so be it. At least we put our best out there and we didn't have no guesses. So that's the best thing I can say. Hope to be surprised in a great way, a la like I was last year when we went to Grambling, because I went on a couple shows and said we had no chance at Grambling, and we went down there and we won. I hope to be surprised. Leave it at that.
This is the SWAC.
You're right about that, because if you'd have told me we'd have ran for 313 yards in the hole and won last year, not even y'all wouldn't have believed that. So let's hope that we get something. And we do what we do.
I know this. I know, like you said, a lot of people didn't expect us to go into the hole and win, and we went and dominated. I know the jokes was what A&M was going to have 100 fans down there, whatever. Mobile is A&M city. With that being said, again, as long as Alabama A&M is on my degree, is on my family members' degree, I'm going to ride with them till the wheels fall off. I don't like T said, about playing the Seattle Seahawks, we could play the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm still gonna pick the A&M Bulldogs. Now, you clip that.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the dogs.
Love y'all, man.
Dogs.
Love y'all, man. Love that.
I was told that the bark is worse than the bite. So we'll see what happens down there in Mobile.
Yeah, Lord knows we done heard enough barking. I done seen that clip replayed so many times. I wish that somebody would delete it. Throw it in the Gulf of Mexico. Let's do some biting. But yeah, for real though, I just hope we can come down there and we can play a great game. I hope it's a 4-quarter game. We'll see what happens. You guys got a good team, and we're still trying to find out who we are. Let's hope we find something great. So this was awesome. Enjoyed you being on our platform. I know you and I
having me.
Yeah, you and I, we talk. We're gonna continue to talk, but best of luck to you boys this weekend. Hopefully not too much luck. And also best to you. And also best to you on your platform. And
you gotta put the pleasantries away. Y'all getting ready to get dog walked. We getting ready to have y'all howling. You got all the pleasantries, but Tigers by 40. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I loved this show. You guys have a great thing going from the Hill podcast. I love what you guys are doing representing Alabama A&M. And like you said, may the best team win. Jackson State Tigers.
Definitely.
All right. Well, good to see you, and we'll be talking.
All right, thank you,
right,
and thank everybody for showing up on the podcast. Thank everybody for coming and supporting and participating.
Yeah, thank y'all for
thank y'all.
Absolutely. Yep. So that was Timona, and that was our picks, and yeah, man. So it was a great show tonight. Shout out to PJ Thompson once again, bringing his advice. Bringing the funny. Bringing the funny. I do want to, though, for those that just joined us, I want to play the video again, and then we'll close. All right, and that is our homecoming lineup. So that'll be for next weekend. Next week we'll have another fabulous show. Thank you once again to PJ Thompson. Shout out again to Timona Stapleton and all of those that joined us tonight. So everybody that's going down to Mobile for the Gulf Coast Challenge, travel safely. And yeah, go Bulldogs. So T, J, Corey, Wild Wayne, we will be back next week with another show, and we'll see you then. Peace.